Today I wanted to make a quick little video going over a passage in the Bible that has a lot of confusion with it. It has to do with the temptation of Jesus in the New Testament, right before Jesus starts his ministry. I've seen a lot of atheists go over this objection. One of the more, uh, I guess the way I would put it is one of the more funny ones that I've heard. One of the biggest objections is the group The Atheist Experience on YouTube. Um, One of the main purporters of that is Matt Dillahunty. He is no longer there, I don't think, but nonetheless, he's been a part of their videos for quite a while. Matt Dillahunty has a caller one of these times, and he basically talks about how this passage makes no sense, and he makes fun of it, and he talks about how could Satan tempt Jesus with something that was already Jesus's, right? Like the world was created by Jesus. So how is it that Jesus is being tempted to be given the world, the nations, right? This specific passage is in Matthew chapter 4, where Satan says, if you, he takes him up to the high mountain, and he says, if you bow down and worship me, I will give you all of the nations, right? And the big question there is, as we've said, how is it that Satan can offer something to Jesus that is already Jesus's? Well, the problem there is that it isn't Jesus's. It isn't God. So, because the Christian claim is that Jesus is God. So this is nothing but a straw man on the account of people like Matt Dillahunty. So let me run a brief explanation of how I go about explaining it, and we can kind of understand really what's going on here. The easiest way I go about trying to explain this is that really what's happening is in Deuteronomy 32, we are told, Deuteronomy 32 verses 8 through 9, it says, quote, when the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he divided all mankind, he set up the boundaries for the people according to the number of the sons of God. Right, and there is some debate there about, sons of Israel, sons of God, but we know from the Masoretic text and all of our more ancient texts that it really is sons of God, not sons of Israel, because Israel did not exist. So let me break this down, because this passage explains the temptation of Jesus explicitly. Deuteronomy 32 is in context of Genesis chapter 11, and the story of Genesis 11 from Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32 is re-explaining, re-describing the story of Genesis 11. That's what's happening in this particular passage. Moses is retelling prior history from his point, just explaining it in more detail. So Genesis 11 is obviously the story where God disinherits the nations to other gods. He allows the other gods to become rulers of other nations, and with that, when God disinherits the nations, those nations no longer belong to God, Yahweh, the El Elyon, the Most High God. So, from this idea, this is why it is said that when Jesus is being offered with the nations, it is a legitimate offer. This is not some silly thing going on here. This is legitimate. Because as I said, when you look at Genesis 11 throughout its full context here, we can see really what's actually happening. When we see, look at Jesus' response, right? Jesus basically denies him, and this is where, right after this, Jesus' ministry gets going. Jesus' entire ministry is on the fact of these background stories, Genesis 3, Genesis 11, right? All of these things are the backdrop of these stories. So Jesus, God, disinherits the nations in Genesis 11. All of the nations belong to Yahweh, but at Genesis 11 he disinherits those nations and gives them up to the other gods, and the gods and the humans then create the tower. Because of this, when God disinherited them, he restarts with Israel. So then through that line of Israel comes the Messiah we call Jesus. So Jesus is being tempted by giving back those nations to him now instead of getting them after he dies by crucifixion and resurrects. So that's what's going on in this story. So whenever you see guys like Matt Dillahunty and whoever make fun of this story, this is the easiest way to respond to it. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like content like this. And let me know what you guys think down below.